After 15 years protecting celebrities, I failed to see the threat under my own roof. My wife asked me to sign papers for our kids' college fund. When I discovered her affair with a desperate real estate developer, I thought that was rock bottom, until I found evidence connecting her to her ex-lover's suspicious death. Now she wants our children, and I'll use every skill from my spec ops days to protect them. My name is Grant Hawkins. I'm 43 years old, and I've spent the last 15 years protecting other people. As a security consultant for high-profile clients, I've developed a sixth sense for danger. The irony isn't lost on me that I failed to see the threat within my own home. Looking back, I should have noticed the signs earlier. Adrienne started working late at her interior design studio more frequently. Our conversations became superficial. She stopped asking about my day or sharing details about hers. But when you're juggling a demanding career with raising 3 kids, it's easy to dismiss these things as normal marital wear and tear. That Tuesday evening, I was reviewing security protocols for a Hollywood actress when my phone buzzed with a text from Emma, my 16-year-old daughter. "Dad, can you pick up Jake from soccer? Mom's not answering." I frowned. Adrienne had specifically told me she'd handle it today because I had client meetings. I called her studio. No answer. Then her cell. Straight to voicemail. "I'll be there in 20. I texted Emma back. Jake, my energetic 5-year-old, was the last kid waiting with his coach when I arrived. His face lit up when he saw me. "Daddy, you came. Where's Mommy?" "Mommy's busy, buddy. How was practice?" On the drive home, I called Olivia, my 13-year-old, who confirmed Adrienne hadn't returned yet. Something felt off. In 15 years of marriage, Adrienne had never forgotten Jake's practice. When I arrived home, Emma was helping Olivia with math homework in the kitchen. Jake immediately ran to show me his new drawing. "Where's Mom?" Emma asked, concern etching her face. "Working late, I guess," I replied, keeping my voice casual. "How about pizza tonight?" At 8:45 p.m., the house phone rang. Nobody ever called our landline except telemarketers and Adrienne's father. "Hawkins residence," I answered. "Mr. Harris? This is Thomas from Elite Realty. I'm just confirming your appointment tomorrow to view the property on Lakeview Drive." "You have the wrong number. We're not looking to buy property." "Oh, I apologize. The appointment was for Bryce Harris and Adrienne Hawkins." "My mistake." The line went dead before I could respond. Adrienne Hawkins. She was using her maiden name. And who the hell was Bryce Harris? I heard the garage door open. Placing my drink down, I leaned against the kitchen counter as Adrienne walked in. She looked stunning in a black dress I didn't recognize, her blonde hair falling perfectly around her shoulders. "You're home," she said, surprise flashing across her face before her practice smile appeared. "I thought you'd be working late." "Jake had soccer practice today," I said evenly. A flicker of panic crossed her features. "Oh God, I completely forgot. Is he okay?" "He's fine. I picked him up." I paused, watching her carefully. "The Thornton project keeping you busy?" "Yes," she sighed dramatically. "Their demands keep changing." I nodded, noting how she avoided eye contact. The faint scent of unfamiliar cologne. The slight smudge in her lipstick. "How's the college fund planning going for the kids?" I asked casually. Adrienne brightened, setting down her purse. "Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about that." Adrienne said, her eyes brightening. "I've found a fantastic opportunity for the kids' college funds. Interest rates are incredibly low right now." I watched her carefully, noting the practiced enthusiasm. 15 years in security had taught me to read people's micro-expressions, the tiny tells that betray deception. "What kind of opportunity?" I asked, taking a sip of my whiskey. "A home equity option," she explained, moving to the kitchen island. "The financial advisor suggested we access the equity we've built. I have the paperwork ready. We just need to sign before rates change." "We agreed to use our investment portfolio for college," I reminded her. "This would be better financially," she insisted. "Trust me on this." Later that night, after Adrienne had gone to bed, I made a call to my former teammate from Navy SEAL Team 6. "Logan, it's Grant. I need your help with surveillance and intelligence gathering." "Discreet, personal, or professional?" Logan asked, immediately alert. "Personal. My house and wife." Logan didn't ask questions. That's why I trusted him. "Details. I need background on someone named Bryce Harris, possibly in real estate. And I need eyes on Adrienne's movements tomorrow." Consider it done. Anything specific I should know? I hesitated. She may be planning something that involves our house. The next morning, I maintained my routine, kissing Adrian and the kids goodbye before heading to my office downtown. Jake clung to my leg as usual. Don't go, Daddy. I knelt down to his level. I'll be home for dinner, buddy. And tomorrow we'll go to the park, just you and me. Emma barely looked up from her phone, but Olivia gave me a quick hug. Can you help me with my history project tonight, Dad? Absolutely. I promised, noticing Adrienne's impatience to get them to school. Throughout the day, Logan's updates arrived via encrypted messages. 10:15 a.m. Subject left house, followed to design studio, but entered adjacent building. Office belongs to Harris Properties. 1:30 p.m. Subject and Harris, confirmed identity, left office together. Lunch at Riverside Cafe. Intimate behavior observed. Photos uploaded to secure server. 4:45 p.m. Subject returned to actual studio. Appears to be maintaining cover of working. I processed the information with professional detachment. In the field, emotional reactions got you killed. Here, they would only blind me to the full scope of the betrayal. That evening, I received a call from my banker friend, Michael. Grant, something odd came up. There's a request to appraise your house for a significant equity withdrawal. Normally, I wouldn't say anything, but the paperwork mentions only Adrienne's name as the beneficiary. When was this submitted? This morning. The whole thing seems rushed. Thanks for the heads up. Can you delay processing without raising flags? For a few days, maybe. Grant, what's going on? I stared at the family photo on my desk. Adrienne and me, with the kids at the beach last summer, all smiles and sunburns. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I intend to find out. The next 3 days, I maintained the appearance of normalcy. I helped Olivia with her history project, coached Jake's soccer practice, and even reviewed Emma's college applications, all while gathering intelligence on my wife's betrayal. Logan's surveillance confirmed the pattern. Adrian was meeting Bryce Harris daily, sometimes at his office, other times at a condo in the downtown district. Meanwhile, I had an associate run a background check on Harris. He's drowning in debt, Logan reported Friday evening. 2 development projects failing. Loans called in. The man needs serious cash within 30 days. I nodded, the pieces clicking into place. And our house is worth $1.5 million. After the kids were asleep, I received the documents Adrienne had been pushing me to sign. Sitting in my home office, I carefully examined each page. There was on page 7, cleverly buried among refinancing paperwork, was a transfer deed, shifting full ownership from joint to Adrienne alone. Saturday morning, I told Adrienne I was taking Jake to his soccer game. Instead, I installed small cameras in key locations throughout the house. By noon, I was watching the live feed from Logan's surveillance van. A realtor arrived first. Adrienne led her through our home. We need to move quickly, Adrienne was saying, her voice perfectly captured by the microphones. My husband signed the transfer documents. Once they're processed Monday, we can list immediately. And he's on board with the sale? The realtor asked. He'll be informed once everything is finalized, Adrienne replied smoothly. It's better this way, clean break. 20 minutes later, Bryce Harris arrived. He swept Adrienne into an embrace the moment she opened the door. Did he sign? Were his first words. Everything, Adrienne confirmed. All we need is for the county to process the transfer Monday, and the house is mine to sell. Perfect timing, Harris said, relief evident in his voice. The bank gave me a final deadline. With this cash, we can save both projects and still have plenty left over. When will you tell him? Harris asked. Adrienne laughed. Grant, he trusts me completely. He's been checked out of this marriage for years, buried in his work, barely noticing I exist. Getting his signature was almost too easy. My jaw tightened, but I maintained my focus. In my former line of work, I'd learned that the most dangerous moment was when your opponent believed they'd already won. I'll give him until Friday to move out, she continued. The kids will stay with me, of course. My blood ran cold. Not just our home, but my children too. Harris frowned. The kids might be a complication. The oldest girl especially. Emma will adjust, Adrienne said dismissively. She's already applying to colleges anyway. And Jake's young enough that he'll forget Grant within months. I'd heard enough. I texted Logan. Begin countermeasures. Monday morning arrived with perfect autumn weather. I rose early, completed my workout, and prepare breakfast. The kids were surprised to see me, still home, when they came downstairs. "No work today, Dad?" Emma asked, grabbing a piece of toast. "Working from home," I replied casually. "Thought I'd drive you all to school." Adrian appeared, already dressed for the day. She faltered slightly, seeing me at the kitchen island. "You're not at the office?" Her voice held a note of concern. "Taking a personal day," I replied. "Lots to catch up on here." Her eyes darted to her purse, where I knew the signed documents waited. "Don't let me interrupt your schedule," I added. "I'm sure you have important meetings." 20 minutes after Adrian left, Logan confirmed she was heading to the county clerk's office. Meanwhile, I made 3 critical calls. First, to my attorney, Catherine Walsh, who had already filed emergency motions with the county recorder's office based on evidence of attempted fraud. "The transfer documents were just flagged for review," she confirmed. "They won't be processed today." Second, to a locksmith who arrived within the hour to change every external lock and upgrade the security system. Third, to our family bank, where I spoke with the branch manager and froze all joint accounts. At 2:30, Logan texted, "Subject returning home. Appears agitated." I positioned myself in the living room, reviewing documents on my laptop, the picture of casual productivity when the front door opened. Adrienne's expression cycled rapidly between shock, fear, and forced composure when she saw me. I thought you had meetings," she stammered. "Finished early," I replied, closing my laptop. "Everything all right? You look upset." "Just a difficult client situation," she said, smoothing her hair. "Nothing I can't handle." I nodded sympathetically. "By the way, did you manage to submit that college fund paperwork this morning?" She froze momentarily. "Yes, but there was a problem with processing. Just a technical delay." "That's unfortunate," I said. "Bureaucracy can be frustrating when you're in a hurry." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "It's just a short delay. Everything will be resolved soon." "I'm sure it will," I replied. Then added casually, "By the way, I've been meaning to ask, how's Bryce Harris?" The color drained from Adrienne's face. "Ooh, Bryce Harris," I repeated. "Real estate developer. Your lover. The man you're planning to sell our house to save his failing projects." I tilted my head slightly. "That Bryce Harris." Adrienne's shock quickly morphed into calculated recovery. "I don't know what you're talking about. I met Mr. Harris once at a charity function." "Interesting," I said, turning my laptop to show her a photo of them kissing outside his office. "I have a different understanding of your relationship." "You had me followed?" she sputtered. "That's invasion of privacy." "No more invasive than installing spyware on my laptop or attempting to transfer our house into your name under false pretenses." Her indignation crumbled. "Grant, listen," she began, her tone shifting to pleading. "Our marriage has been over for years. We both know that. I just wanted a clean break. By committing fraud and theft, I was going to leave you a fair settlement from the proceeds. After you sold it to your boyfriend to bail out his failing developments." "Very generous," I replied evenly. Just then, the front door opened. Emma walked in, freezing when she sensed the tension. "Dad? Mom? What's going on?" Adrian immediately shifted personas, rushing to embrace our daughter. "Nothing, sweetie. Just a disagreement about finances." Emma's eyes found mine, questioning. At 16, she was too perceptive to buy that explanation. "Actually," I said carefully, "your mother and I need to have an important conversation with you and your siblings." "Where are Olivia and Jake?" "Lives at soccer practice. Jake's still at after school." Emma's gaze darted between us. "Should I be worried?" Before I could answer, Adrian interjected. "Everything's fine. Your father is just being dramatic." "Dramatic?" I repeated. "Is that what you call protecting our home?" Emma's eyes widened. "What's happening to our home?" The doorbell rang. Through the security feed on my phone, I saw Bryce Harris standing nervously on our porch. "Perfect timing," I said. "That must be your mother's business associate." "Grant, don't," Adrian began, but I was already moving to the door. Harris looked startled to see me. "Mr. Hawkins, Come in, Mr. Harris," I said coldly. "We were just discussing your real estate ventures with my daughter." Emma stood in the living room, confusion evident on her face. "Mom, who is this?" "A business associate," Adrian replied quickly. "Is that what we're calling it?" I asked. Turning to Emma, I added, "Honey, could you give us a few minutes?" "No way," she countered, crossing her arms. If this is about our home, I deserve to know what's happening. I respected her resolve. You're right. The short version, your mother and Mr. Harris plan to transfer our house in her name, sell it, and leave before Friday. That's not true. Adrian protested. Emma, your father is twisting things. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Were you going to take us away from Dad? The pain in her voice hit me like a physical blow. The confrontation lasted another hour. Harris, realizing his plan was unraveling, tried to distance himself from the scheme. Emma, devastated by her mother's betrayal, called Olivia to come home immediately. I have documentation of everything, I told them, pointing to the stack of evidence on the coffee table. The fraudulent transfer papers, recordings of your conversations, bank records showing unauthorized withdrawals. Adrienne's composure finally shattered. You don't understand. It wasn't just about the money. Then explain it to me, I challenged. Explain it to our daughters. Olivia had arrived during the conversation, her soccer uniform still on, tears streaming down her face as she absorbed what was happening. Mom, how could you? She whispered. Adrienne looked at our daughters, then at me. I felt trapped. I've been unhappy for years. So you decided theft and fraud were the solution? I asked quietly. Instead of just asking for a divorce like a reasonable person, you would have fought me on everything, she snapped. You don't know that because you never tried. I countered. Instead, you involved our children in your deception. Harris cleared his throat nervously. Perhaps I should go. Sit down, I ordered, my voice carrying the unmistakable command of someone used to being obeyed in crisis situations. Harris said immediately. Here's what happens next, I continued, removing a folder from my briefcase. These are divorce papers drafted by my attorney. The terms are simple. You keep your business, personal accounts, and the assets you brought into the marriage. I keep the house, my business, and all joint assets. That's highway robbery. Adrienne protested. No. I corrected her. Highway robbery is what you attempted. This is consequence. And if I refuse, then tomorrow morning, the fraud charges get filed. Your business reputation evaporates. Emma, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. Were you even going to say goodbye to us, Mom? The question hung in the air. Adrienne couldn't meet her gaze. Logan texted. Jake's school called. They need someone to pick him up. Teacher says he's asking for his dad. I need to get Jake, I said, standing. Emma, Olivia, would you come with me? Both girls nodded, moving to my side without hesitation. By the time we return, I told Adrienne and Harris, I expect a decision on those papers. Choose wisely. As we walked to the car, Emma slipped her hand into mine, something she hadn't done since she was 12. Dad, she asked quietly, we're not going to lose our home, are we? No, sweetheart, I promised, squeezing her hand. Not if I have anything to say about it. Jake ran to me the moment we entered the school building, his small arms wrapping tightly around my legs. Daddy, you came. His face beamed up at me, then fell as he noticed his sister's red-rimmed eyes. Why is everybody sad? I knelt to his level. We'll talk about it on the way home, buddy. Get your backpack, okay? As Jake gathered his things, his teacher approached. Mr. Hawkins, Jake was upset earlier. He said he overheard his mom talking about moving away. My jaw tightened. Thank you for letting me know. We're dealing with some family changes. In the car, Emma explained things to Jake in simple terms. Mom and Dad are having a disagreement about our house. Are we moving? Jake asked, clutching his dinosaur backpack. No, sport, I assured him. We're staying right where we are. But Mommy told her friend we were getting a bigger house. Jake resisted. She said you wouldn't be there. Olivia turned in her seat, tears welling again. Mom was going to take us away from Dad. I met her eyes in the rearview mirror. That was her plan, yes. I don't want to go anywhere without Daddy. Jake declared fiercely. By the time we returned home, Logan texted that Adrienne and Harris had been arguing intensely before Harris stormed out. Adrienne remained inside, pacing the living room. Wait in the car for a minute, I told the kids, then went inside alone. Adrienne looked up, her makeup streaked from tears. Where are the kids? Safe, I replied. Have you made your decision? She thrust a stack of papers toward me. I signed your damn agreement. Happy now. I quickly verified her signature on each page. Where's Harris? Gone, she said bitterly. Turns out he's not interested in damaged goods without $1 million payday attached. I'm sorry, I said, a minute despite everything. Adrian laughed hollowly. No, you're not. You've won completely. This wasn't about winning. I corrected her. It was about protecting our children and our home. What happens now? She asked, suddenly looking smaller. Now I bring the kids inside, and you explain to them why you're leaving. My tone was firm, but not cruel. They deserve that much from you. The conversation that followed was one of the most painful experiences of my life. Jake clung to me, confused and crying. Olivia alternated between anger and pleading. Emma remained stoically silent until the very end. Were we ever enough for you? She finally asked her mother. Adrian had no answer. 2 days later, I received a call from Logan that changed everything. I kept digging into Harris's background. He said without preamble. Something didn't add up. Explain, I replied, stepping away from the breakfast table where the kids were eating. Harris's financial troubles began 18 months ago, but Adrian only met him 7 months ago. I frowned. Maybe she didn't know about his problems initially. That's what I thought too, Logan continued. But then I found this connection to a man named Victor Reynolds. Who is he? Insurance executive. He died in a boating accident in Florida 4 months ago. Accident investigation was inconclusive. I felt a chill. What's the connection to Adrian? She was seeing him before Harris. I found photos of them together at his beach house. Here's where it gets interesting. Reynolds changed his insurance policy 3 weeks before his death, adding a significant payout to a trust with Adrian as beneficiary. Jesus, I whispered. You're saying. I'm not saying anything definitive, Logan clarified. But the timeline is suspicious. Reynolds dies, his insurance pays out, and shortly after, Adrian begins a relationship with Harris who desperately needs money. My mind raced through implications. Is there any direct evidence linking Adrian to Reynolds' death? Nothing conclusive, Logan answered. But there's more. I tracked her movements from cell data. She was in Tampa the weekend of Reynolds' accident. I needed to process this information. Forward everything to my secure email. Don't discuss this with anyone else. After hanging up, I returned to the kitchen. Emma was helping Jake with his cereal while Olivia packed lunches. Everything okay, Dad? Emma asked, noticing my expression. I forced a smile. Just work stuff. How about we do something fun this weekend? That evening, after the kids were asleep, I reviewed Logan's files. The pattern was disturbing. Adrian had systematically targeted men in financial positions, established relationships, then extracted resources before moving on. Had I been just another target in a longer game? The doorbell rang unexpectedly. Through the security camera, I saw Bryce Harris standing nervously on my porch. What do you want? I asked after opening the door. I found something you need to see, he said, glancing over his shoulder anxiously. About Adrian and Victor Reynolds. Come in, I replied, stepping aside. Harris looked ragged, his usual polished appearance gone. After everything fell apart, I started digging. I found emails between Adrian and Reynolds' personal assistant discussing his boating trip, routes, weather conditions, everything, 2 weeks before his accident. Why tell me this? Self-preservation, Harris admitted. If anything happens to me, someone needs to know the truth. I studied him carefully. You think she was involved in Reynolds' death? I know she was, he whispered, and now I'm afraid I might be next. After Harris left, I spent the night compiling and analyzing everything we had discovered. The pattern was undeniable. Adrian had systematically targeted wealthy or financially established men, extracted resources, then moved on. Victor Reynolds' death no longer seemed like a tragic accident. By morning, I had made a critical decision. I contacted Catherine Walsh, my attorney. I need to submit evidence to the FBI regarding a suspicious death, I explained, carefully outlining what we'd found about Reynolds. This is serious, Grant, Catherine warned. Once you involve federal authorities, there's no turning back. I understand, I replied. But if Adrian was involved in Reynolds' death, she's dangerous. My priority is protecting my children. Next, I called Logan to implement enhanced security protocols for the house and the kids' schools. I wouldn't take any chances with their safety. I was reviewing the final security arrangements when my phone rang. Adrienne's number. We need to talk, she said without preamble. About the children's arrangements. We already discussed that in the divorce agreement, I replied cautiously. Things have changed, she insisted. I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Dinner tonight. Every instinct warned me this was a trap, but I needed to understand her intentions. Not dinner. Coffee, public place, this afternoon. The cafe on Highland Street at 4:30. Fine, she agreed too quickly. See you then. After hanging up, I texted Logan. Need surveillance at Highland Cafe. For 30 today. Possible hostile situation. Roger that, he replied. Already tracking her movements. She met with Harris this morning, looked agitated. Hours later, I positioned myself strategically in the cafe. Back to the wall, clear view of all entrances. Adrian arrived precisely on time, perfectly composed in an outfit I'd never seen before. Thank you for coming, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. I've been thinking about our situation. And, I prompted, watching her carefully. I've decided to move to California, she announced. Fresh start. I'm willing to give you full custody of the children with generous visitation for me. The abrupt reversal triggered every alarm in my security-trained mind. That's a significant change from your previous position. She smiled sadly. Recent events have been clarifying. I realize the children need stability right now. And what do you want in exchange for this generous offer? I asked directly. Adrienne's expression didn't waver. Just to expedite the divorce. No contestations, no delays. And, she hesitated dramatically. I'd like you to destroy any documentation connecting me to Bryce Harris or Victor Reynolds. There it was. The real agenda. Why would I do that? I asked evenly. Because it would be better for everyone, she replied, her eyes flashing with something dangerous. Especially the children. Was she threatening them? My protective instinct surged, but I maintained my composure. I'll consider it. I lied, checking my watch. I need to pick up Jake from soccer. As I stood to leave, Adrian grabbed my wrist. Don't take too long to decide, Grant. Some opportunities have expiration dates. I nodded curtly and left, immediately calling Logan. She's threatening the kids. Implement blackout protocol now. Blackout protocol was something we developed for high-risk client extractions. A complete communications and location blackout, coupled with secure transport to a predetermined safe location. Within 30 minutes, Logan had collected all 3 children from their various activities and transported them to my friend David's lake house, 20 miles outside the city. Meanwhile, I delivered the complete evidence package to FBI Special Agent Maria Cortez, including recordings of Adrienne's thinly veiled threats. This is substantial, Agent Cortez acknowledged, reviewing the files. We'll need to interview Mr. Harris immediately. He's afraid for his life, I told her. I can arrange contact, but he'll need assurances. Events accelerated rapidly after that. The FBI located and interviewed Harris, who provided additional evidence about Reynolds' death. By evening, agents were preparing to arrest Adrienne on conspiracy charges. I was at the lake house with the kids when Logan called. Adrienne's gone, he reported. She tried to board a flight to Mexico, but fled when she saw federal agents. Currently at large. The manhunt lasted 3 tense days. The children remained at the lake house, protected by security personnel, while I coordinated with authorities. Emma and Olivia understood the severity of the situation, though we shielded Jake from the worst details. On the 4th day, Agent Cortez called with news. We've apprehended your wife at the Canadian border, she reported. She was traveling with false identification. We've also recovered digital evidence from her devices, confirming her involvement in Reynolds' death. You and your children are safe now. Relief washed over me, followed by profound sadness for what my children would have to process. That evening, as we prepared to return home, Emma found me on the lake house porch. Dad, her voice was quiet but steady. Mom called me. My pulse quickened. When? Yesterday. She wanted me to meet her, said she could explain everything. Emma hugged herself tightly. I recorded it and sent it to your friend Logan instead. Pride and love overwhelmed me. I pulled her into a hug. You did exactly right. I'm so sorry you've had to deal with any of this. I keep thinking about something Mom said once. Emma continued, that you have to be careful who you trust. Ironic, right? I nodded, watching the sunset reflect across the lake. Trust has to be earned, and it can be lost in an instant. Are we going to be okay? She asked, the teenage bravado momentarily giving way to vulnerability. We are, I promised, meaning it completely. It won't be easy, but we have each other. Later, as I tucked Jake into bed, he looked up at me with those innocent eyes. Daddy, are the bad guys gone now? I brushed his hair back gently. Yes, buddy. The bad guys can't hurt us anymore. Good, he mumbled sleepily. Because we're the good guys, right? Right, I whispered, making him a silent promise that I would always protect him, Emma, and Olivia. We're the good guys.